This week in gaming, Xbox just killed. This is an Xbox. Disney might buy Epic Games, and Sony decided a $750 PS5 Pro wasn't expensive enough. So now it's over 900. This is the Nerd Cave Newz, and I am one of your hosts, Zach Dykes, joined by my good friend and co-host, Derek Daniel. Derek, how's it going?
Going pretty well, man. Been a pretty solid week. You know, we got Easter coming up. I know Good Friday is tomorrow for those that recognize that, and then of course Easter Sunday is this upcoming Sunday. We hope that everyone in advance has a great weekend. Spend the time with the family and the loved ones that are in your life, and just celebrate and enjoy. Eat some good food. I know we will be. We found I don't know. I know. I don't know if you eat ham on Easter or did when you back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Publix carries, like these, ham glazes or whatever, right? And the ones that we, found years ago that we fell in love with was this maple bourbon glazed ham. Really good, really solid. But then it became, obviously because it was popular with everyone else, it was hard to find. Like some years we had to go with the brown sugar glaze. Nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't the maple bourbon. And then, like, the last couple of years, we've been able to find it. Like, last year, my mom was able to get one, so we had it for last Easter. This year, we decided that one's not enough. She bought two, and I said, you know what? Why not? Because we've missed out on several years. Why not get a third one? So I have one chilling in my fridge right now. So we're going to be ham for a while.
Dude, you're going to be, like, so sick of ham. Because, okay, I love ham. During, Christmas... I've got to have a ham for Christmas, and I got to have a ham for Thanksgiving. I know people are going to be like, you eat ham for Thanksgiving? Yes, I do. Okay.
A lot of people do. Some people do both. Some people do turkey and ham.
We did have turkey and we did have ham. We had a smaller ham during that.
Good.
Yeah, I think the internet is dropping some frames on us tonight.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Sorry about that, everybody in the club. But thank you for letting me know, love. But yeah, like we would do turkey and ham, and with my family, we would do fried turkey, regular ham, and like the fried turkey would be like turkey nuggets, and then a regular turkey on top of that. So
for those that didn't want fried, I wanted the traditional.
Yeah. Which I don't like traditional most of the time because it's usually dry as butt. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially, the common mistake people do is because I've cut the turkey and like those first couple pieces that I do are very moist and tender. It's like if you cut it too early and you let it sit there, then it dries out real quick. So it's almost like you got to get it while it's freshly cut.
Yeah. Now, Amy, like when Christmas came around, or I think it was Thanksgiving, Amy did a turkey. It was like her first turkey, and like she glazed it. She did all the stuff and was checking on it during the night and all of this. Like put it in the sink as well. She kept it super moist. That was the first time like a turkey actually tasted somewhat good to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's 3 hams though, Derek. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
so, 3 ham.
Hey,
that's kind of crazy.
It's really good. So, and like I said, we've been without the last couple of years, except for last year. So, we got to make up for lost time because we don't know if we'll ever get it again. We might go another 3-year drought before we find it again.
Maybe, Derek. Maybe. Some housekeeping before we get into what you've been playing for everybody. Next Thursday, we are going to be having our second episode of Eat Sleep Anime of the year.
Yeah.
So
looking forward to it because I've been watching some stuff, boy.
Same. I'm excited for this one. So instead of Nerd Cave Newz next week, we are going to be doing Eat Sleep Anime, same time, all that good stuff. So y'all get ready to be chatting about anime during that.
And I know people are going to say, well, you normally do it on the weekend. We had it originally planned for Saturday, but stuff came up, and then when we realized the rest of how our itinerary would line up, it's like nah. And then we floated this idea. It's like let's just we don't want to have you guys go without.
Yeah, we don't want you be hungry for
Starving.
anime. Yeah, yeah, we're gonna feed you. We're gonna feed you good. So that is gonna be we're gonna feed Derek's gonna bring the ham, y'all, because he's gonna have 17 of those bad boys. He's gonna be the ham goblin over here, like Santa Claus of ham, just throwing hams at people. But yeah, that's going to be awesome. So come and join us for Eat Sleep Anime next Thursday. I will be streaming on Tuesday, this coming up Tuesday. So we'll be jumping back into some Expedition 33. Going to try to finish that up this month, and jump into that. So I'm definitely looking forward to rolling on that one. But we got an awesome show tonight. But first, let's jump into our favorite segment, and that is what you playing, Derek.
And so I did play, you brought it up just a minute ago. I did get back into Expedition 33 just because, again, I have some stuff. I started the Endless Tower, going through there. Like, it's pretty much just like a gauntlet run. You know what I mean? Like, like stage 1, part 1 or whatever. And then you fight, you start off with some enemies and then some bosses come in. And then like, I got up to stage 6, but like stage 5, I was starting to fight a bunch of chromatics, and I'm like, oh great, if I didn't fight them originally, like why not face them again, right? But then I got to level 80, and then I remembered some areas unlocked you can access. It doesn't say the danger thing again when you get to level 80. So I'm not going to say it because it gives it away, like the name of the place, but it's a place further south of the map, I will say, that you can access. And then it's different. It was more like a safe haven, but I'm just like, what's safe about this? Because I fought some different. One was just a different variation of an enemy, and then one felt like it was new. Maybe it was like one of those like that I fought in an early map, early in the game, and I just never popped up again. But it felt like a new enemy, and these enemies, like I just hit level 80, and I went there, and it felt like I was underleveled. Like they were having their way, like they were stacking shields, and then they had this new ability, this new debuff that they introduce that reduces your damage, or has a chance to reduce your damage down to 1. And I'm like, this is garbage. And so as soon as I lost, like, of course, my first team lost, and it's like, oh, it gives you the option to send in the reserves, and I'm just like, no, because if I don't beat it once, what's the point of having the rest of my team die if I'm not going to have a chance to beat it? So I backed out. I'm just like, cool, I know what to expect. I'm going to come back to this later on. And then I went to what's called the Flying Manor up there. Like, I did stumble across, like, when you unlock which I know you've unlocked the fly ability. When you unlock the fly ability, you can go to different areas. Like once you're flying around, you see enemies up there. You know what I mean? Like there's places where you can find enemies. And I found one. It was another chromatic. It wasn't that tough, but I'm just like, I can't believe there's still stuff. I'm like, it's just so. Again, this is why this game is so enthralling to me, and this is why I keep coming back. Is because you just keep finding stuff and keep interacting with stuff, and like doing this, that, and the other, and you just find it's like exploring like some of like the middle of the road Pokemon games, like before the Switch versions, but like after the early Game Boy versions. It's like, because it gave you just like, I think it was like Ruby Sapphire, where after you beat the initial stage, it's like, oh, it lets you go back to like Kanto or whatever, like that kind of. Then it was like a special like end game like you didn't see coming. It's kind of like that. You go to Kanto and just find new things to fight and mess around with. So yeah, I've been playing Expedition 33.
I love it. I haven't got the fly ability yet, so I haven't explored that.
I thought you did. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just nodding my head, Derek. Just nodding my head over here. So for me, I played some Death Stranding, and of course, absolutely have been loving Death Stranding 2. Built some more roads, built some more rail systems. I've been, I don't know if I've told you this, Derek, but I got a PlayStation Portal.
Yes, I do remember you telling me that.
Okay. So I got a PlayStation Portal, and it has absolutely changed everything for me. Okay.
Right.
Because
Sort of like when you got the Backbone, right?
yeah, but on like the best crack ever. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
best crack ever. Because like I've tried to do it on my Steam Deck, and it was all right. The Backbone was okay for what it was, but the PlayStation Portal, and I feel sorry for anyone that wanted to get a PlayStation Portal, because we're going to talk about that a little bit with the price increase.
Yeah.
One of the
Ironically, that was the least, affected one. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, but still, it's a lot more. But man, just sitting there, we're watching, Ancient Magus Bride, not Ancient Magus Bride, but Ancient Magus Bride. I always make that joke. Amy's like, please God, no. And One Piece and Fairy Tale and all of that. And I'm over there just like gathering resources and, doing all of those things.
Bridges.
And building bridges, doing all the stuff that I like doing, because like I found if you build it, it will make it so much easier when you actually start doing the missions. So it's like,
Correct.
okay, I'm going to just pour in some time here because I've just got it on mute. I'm not, doing anything. But dude, haptic feedback is amazing. Everything that you have with your regular controller on the PS5, you got it there. Everything looks crisp. And they just put out an update a few weeks ago where you can have like even better resolutions. It does take more...
Nice.
More bandwidth and everything, but dude, it's so good. Highly suggested if you are a portable kind of person and everything, you like your portable gaming, which I've loved portable gaming for a very long time. This is like the Vita, you know what I mean? This is like,
yeah, but that's very fair.
What I envisioned for like remote play with the Vita has finally been realized with the PlayStation Portal, because I've been doing remote play since the Vita, like when it first came out. So it's just like, okay, we finally got to where we need to be, and it's like, okay, we're here.
I just like being justified that the Vita is dead. You know what I mean? So
the Vita lives in my heart, Derek. All right. The Vita lives in my heart. Michael says, Derek bringing a new meaning of going ham.
Exactly.
Yeah, he is a ham. He is a ham.
You got to ham it up.
Yeah, you got to ham. Derek, I like that shirt. No offense.
Yeah, no. I'm about to say, I remember one of the few good things I bought at GameStop. Just saying.
Yeah. I really like it. No offense.
What? I don't know why you're saying no offense. I mean, it makes it sound like it's a backhanded compliment.
I like the shirt. No offense.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No offense.
I don't know I don't know what shtick you're going with, but I'll just nod my head and smile.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm just telling you, I like your shirt. No offense. Okay. Don't know why you're making it weird, but okay.
I'll wait for the punchline later.
Yeah. No offense.
Speaking of punchlines, Zach, and I forgot to mention that I wanted to do this before we get started. Yesterday was April Fool's Day. Like a time for all the people to do the ultimate fake out day. You know what I mean?
Like, I feel like a lot of them have just gotten worse and worse. It's like, we got to do an April Fool, so they're just kind of like half
right, like
doing
it's forced now, But one such company that makes it interesting and makes it at least I don't know if they brought it back last year, but they brought it this year, or I saw it this year. And it was some pretty good headlines, and that was Game Informer. They always do that Game Enforcer. We used to see it every, all the time, like every April issue in Game Informer. But they brought some back, so I wanted to share some of the headlines that they did this year. Obviously, we won't go because this is satire. It's not real. But I just wanted to share some of Game Enforcer headlines that they did this year. One of the first ones being, new windy and wavy Pal World update introduces 3 new pals. And of course, this is Pal World's new update, poking fun at the new Pokemon games, Winds and Waves, So, and it's of course mock.
Okay. we're
Okay.
we're back. It was like having like it had to stop the broadcast to Substack. All right, we're back, everybody. Sorry about that. You were
All right.
saying even
Uh,
if you bit the bullet.
even if I decided not to buy a PS6 at launch, it would be a time to go back on my backlog and like play. Give me more time to spend with some of these games that I've been putting on the back burner for years. Like and that would be a great because I mean I'm not short for games. Zach, you know this from looking through my
Yeah.
games library. I am not. I am not short of having games to play on my console. So I wouldn't be starved for entertainment. And I mean, even if I in a alternate dimension where I played all my backlog games, I had nothing to beat. I have anime to watch. Like I will find reasons not to buy the PS6 at launch. I promise you.
Yeah, yeah. And it all comes back down to if you're going to charge absurd prices, expect absurd behavior from your base. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're already trying to monetize your base and everything. And we saw this literally, Derek, it was maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. They pulled out of PC gaming, and now what's happening? They're raising the price of PlayStations, and we talked about that.
It's not coincidence, people. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. So
The signs are there if you pay attention.
yeah, it's ridiculous.
So Sony's like, you think we're going to lose money by having people not buy our console? Nope. We're going to take access to where you can only. If Nintendo can do it, so can we. You can only play our games on our console.
Yeah. So only time will tell what the PS6 will be. Will the PlayStation 5 continue to go up in price? Hopefully not. I would highly suggest if anyone is interested in a PlayStation 5, buy it second hand. Make sure it works, but buy it second hand.
Right. And you don't hear me say that because of like me working a decade at GameStop, but I would do a deal with the devil in a heartbeat. It's the devil, you know what I mean? I would do that in a heartbeat just to prove a point. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not going to get back on that tangent. And you know what I'm saying? It's like only time will tell. It's like, watch, next week we'll see another Xbox price increase. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is not the stick war we want. It's like stick war for gaming, not for price increases.
No. But we know what we want to see, everybody, and that is you having the best time here at the Nerd Cave. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything, because next week during this time block, 7 p.m. Central Time, we're going to be talking about all the anime that you need to be watching. Derek and I are going to be live at 7 p.m. Central Time for Eat Sleep Anime. So if you don't hit that subscribe button, you're not going to remember because you got too much going on in your life, and that's okay. Because we're here. We're the taste testers. We're the ones that got the taste, all right? We're going to be talking about some anime that you might love, you might not even know, and some that you actually hate. But hey, that's okay too, because you love to hate them. So make sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because we've got more video game news. And this one, not that big of a surprise, but wasn't what I had on my bingo card this week. Disney reportedly wants to buy Epic Games, and this is by Tom Phillips at IGN.
So Disney executives are reportedly keen on fully buying Fortnite developer Epic Games at some point. The claim comes from veteran tech reporter Alex Heath via the Town podcast, who said that senior executives were waiting for the right moment to make a bid for the metaverse game, following Disney's prior $1.5 billion with a B investment in developer Epic Games. Fortnite is the jewel in the crown of Epic's portfolio, alongside its pervasive development toolkit, Unreal Engine, and a significant money spinner. But the past year has been rocky for the game, something that led to Epic Games shedding 1,000 of its staff members last week, due in part to a downturn in engagement through 2025. Disney, meanwhile, is already heavily invested in Fortnite with dozens of character skins and crossovers already part of the game, including Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, and Disney animated characters, and a long-awaited Disney-specific mode that's set to offer fans a place to play, watch, create, and shop. Quote, I know for a fact there are senior execs in Disney who want them to buy Epic and are just waiting for that moment. And then there are others who think it's a bad idea if Epic ever sold, if it ever decided to call it quits on being an independent company. Disney would be the most natural home for it for a lot of reasons. Here, Heath referenced the upcoming Disney Mode concept art for which looks like a virtual Disneyland park with various themed areas, and the idea it just becomes Disney gaming platform. Despite 2 years of development work, however, there's still no suggestion of when it will finally arrive. Last year, Sweeney blasted a Wall Street Journal report that claimed the development of the mode was being hampered by slow decision making at Disney, something he claimed was, quote, BS. Still, that report stated that the mode announced back in March of 2024 would not be ready before this fall, something which is expected to be born out of reality. Quote, Epic is a founder-controlled company, Heath continued. Tim Sweeney has full voting stock control and can make unilateral decisions, and it's really up to him. As we saw, he was the guy who went to bat against the App Store, against Apple and Google to open those up. And it's almost an ideological crusade when you're running a company like Epic to do something like that, and he even acknowledges in the layoff email that it cost Epic. One Disney exec who strongly backed the company's investment in Fortnite was Josh D'Amaro, the same person who recently won the race to become the company's new CEO. While his tenure has only just begun, it's believed that D'Amaro will want to quickly make his mark in the role this year, and he has previously remarked that the launch of Fortnite's Disney mode will be a major moment for the company going forward. Just this week, former long-term Disney exec Kevin Mayer said he expected D'Amaro to make, quote, bold steps this year and grow the company's gaming output. Quote, I think Epic or some other video game asset would be a great addition to the Walt Disney Company's asset base, Mayer told CNBC. So, obviously, again, not a shock, Zach. But again, something we didn't have in our bingo card. And of course, it's always the right time. And hearing that and then reading this article, it makes me think that, them shutting down all these modes, laying off 1,000 staff, and of course, this is not the 1,000 staff wasn't the first time they laid off people. They laid off others, earlier
800 last year.
Exactly. So this, you remember when Crystal Dynamics was wanting to sell off and they were downsizing, like closing studios, like making them look sexier to be a viable option. My mind immediately went to, is this what Epic's doing? Like, yes, saying, oh, Fortnite's down, we have to shut some modes, let go of staff. Like, yes, of course, maybe it is maybe it's just a coincidence, but maybe it's like also like Disney was like, of course, they're saying they're waiting for the right time, and maybe Epic is making it more of a sexy appeal to Disney to be more viable to buy them this year or within the next calendar year, rather than wait 2 or 3 years down the line when Epic, needs cash inflow, or like maybe they don't become the top rated company, or the number one video game with Fortnite in the world. So I don't want to think that way, and I hope it isn't just a coincidence that this just like the layoffs and this is back to back. But nothing is off the table, as we've learned over the last couple years, Zach, in the video game industry. Yep. Mainly the beginning of this year, we just see sleazy business practices month in, month out, week in, week out. We talk about it here all the time. So what are your takes on this?
This is going to be bad if this happens. Them already investing 1.5 billion means that they have like a lot involved with them. It's
sort of like when Vivendi slowly started taking over Ubisoft. It started with this small stock buyout, then this one, and then eventually they just started doing mass takeover.
Yeah, so I am all against any kind of purchasing from any big corporation over another at this point. I don't want Disney to own any more stuff. I don't want them to own anything else.
Well, it's like when Disney bought Marvel, or like what was the last, like it was, and another great example, especially in the video game industry, that we all we're guilty of it too. We touted, when this happened, because we all thought it would be for the better, is when Microsoft bought Activision Blizzard. We thought it was great, and now here we are several years later, and it is probably one of the worst purchases. You know, it was great for Activision Blizzard because it kicked out Bobby Kotick, but it's like you kicked out one devil and you brought in another one that
Yeah.
is maybe a nicer guy in the locker room, but still does the shady business practices and like does things that weren't in the contract. And the FTC even warned you about. It's like, hey, this is going to happen, but you were like, money. So uh, and so
Well,
yeah,
and
it's
we've seen it time and time again. Embracer Group, Sony buying Bungie, buying Blue Point, Tencent. Like we've seen it time and time again. When a bigger company buys another company that is large, there is going to be mass layoffs from that company. And at this point, it's like Disney, like I don't trust Disney with anything at this point.
Nope.
They've fumbled the ball so much in the past few years where it's like, I don't want you to touch any property. Like, yeah, the Percy Jackson show has been pretty good, but other than that, they are doing Aragon as well. But Marvel sucks now. Star Wars sucks now. It's like you've had these gold mines and then you just filled it full of gasoline and lit it on fire because you wanted to go faster and faster. And it's like, I don't want Disney to buy Epic. I want Epic to stay by itself because two sleazy companies being together is not a good thing. You
thought 1,000 layoffs in 1 week was bad? Just imagine they'll lay off 5,000 people in a heartbeat.
Yeah, like this is what Disney needs to do is what they've been doing, and that is like not selling off, but renting out the properties to able-bodied studios, like what they've done with Insomniac. Like that is perfect. Keep doing that. And yes, I know we've got like Respawn with Jedi and all of that, and then hopefully one of these days we'll see like the Captain America Black Panther game 1943.
1943.
Like hopefully we'll see that. I know there's been a few others that have been out there floating around that we haven't seen anything of. Hopefully we'll see some of those things, but Disney has already tried their hand at having a gaming division and it just never went anywhere. Like Disney Infinity started hot and then they just didn't want to keep supporting it.
Out.
Yeah.
Well, and it was like, because I mean, they rode on the coattails of like, it was sort of like, how
Skylanders.
Skylanders. It's like, how we talk about live service games, like it's Fortnite, Call of Duty, and for a while Apex, and now it's like third spot is weaning. But then it's like back then when Activision Blizzard, it was like Skylanders and Disney Infinity, and then I want to say there was a third Lego Dimensions. Yes, they had those, and then those quickly died as soon as that third one came in. It died off real quick because Lego Dimensions I don't even think lasted barely 2 years.
It didn't last very long, but it was freaking cool, Derek, because they had Doctor Who, and I still have a few of my figures. You gave me a Green Arrow figure.
That's right.
I still have it. I got rid of everything else, but I still have that one.
But it's you bring up a good point. It's like they kill off stuff, and I mean, you talk about the gaming division was just terrible. I think back to like, you remember that god awful contract they had with EA?
Yeah.
Like that should have never happened, especially for 10 years. And we were bamboozled. We thought, okay, Battlefront, they're bringing back Battlefront. Everyone loved Battlefront from back in the day. And then it was just online and like very few modes and hollow. And we were like, this is not what we want. The Battlefront 2 came out. And it was like, all right, we're going to include a story mode, better modes at launch, blah, blah. It's like, cool. And then the game was unplayable. And then it was microtransactions out of the
sucked.
Right. Out the butt. And people just like, I mean, you were one of the champions that just kept bashing it because of like, that was one of your prime examples of microtransactions done bad. And loot boxes. So, and of course, a couple years ago, the game saw a resurgence, and kudos to them because it's now a great game. And I know they did the anniversary pack several years back, and, that brought a lot of people back to the game. But again, first impressions matter. And that time with EA, and I know they learned from it, and kudos to them. But like we talked about, do not make a there doesn't need to be a mega merger. Like, keep it separate. And like you said, two evil corporations. It's like Rita Repulsa and Zed getting together. It's like, don't do it because it's just
No.
going to spell nothing but trouble.
Yeah, and I really think at this point the FTC is going to knock Disney's teeth out of their mouth because of the Activision Blizzard thing, but also
Oh yeah,
with Disney buying up all of these properties and then getting Fox as well. It's like,
oh yeah.
I don't think the FTC will let this slide.
FTC will have a field day with this, and you know, again, I know money talks. I get it. You know, at the end of the day, it's a business. But FTC will have a plethora of a list, especially just off of Xbox Activision alone, as to why this shouldn't happen. And, you know, if they do, I think they'll win. I think they will nix this merger. But then again, Disney, they may not have Nintendo's lawyers, but they got big lawyers. You know what I mean? They'll find loopholes to where this can still somewhat happen. Maybe not a merger, but in some capacity, like a merger.
Yeah, like I feel
if it's going to happen, they're going to make it happen.
Yeah, I feel like Ubisoft is over there just like salivating. It's like, can Disney buy us?
Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like, Yves Guillemot gets... But hey, if they do what Microsoft did to Bobby Kotick and kicks Yves Guillemot out, I would actually be fine with that. If that's all they did with Ubisoft, to just kick Yves out, cool, thank you. You've done the Lord's work. You're good.
Yeah, I don't want to see this happen. I don't want to see any mega corporations buy another big developer or publisher. Like we've seen it over the last 10 years in gaming.
Yeah.
This spells disaster for so many developers, and it creates ridiculous expectations for return on investment. ROI is important, but at the end of the day, you've also got to think about long-term growth.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that's not being thought about. It's like, if you're paying 69 billion with a B for, you know, Activision and all of that, are you ever really going to make that money back? No, you're not, because you're just not. And you're getting hoodwinked.
And you know, again, like, even going further back, because I remember us touting, like, when Xbox first started, like, getting their toes into, like, the acquisition game, right? That set off, like, a chain of events with Sony, mainly Sony. Like, Nintendo was in there here and there over the years of the Switch, but it was mainly between Sony and Microsoft. And it's like, they bought Rare, they bought Playground Games, they bought Ninja Theory, and it was like, everyone was like, oh man, they're gonna have this awesome library of first-party games. And then when Sony bought Blue Point and bought Insomniac, they're like, oh man, we get some classics coming back, you know, some nostalgia with Ratchet and Clank, all this kind of stuff. And yes, have some of them hit? Yes. We're about to see how Playground's about to do with Forza Horizon 6 coming out in May, and then potentially Fable later this year, especially them trying their hands at something that's not a racing game. We'll see how Playground acquisition works. Ninja Theory, we've seen how that's played out. Rare, outside of, you know, Everwild being canceled, like, they've done pretty solid. I know Sea of Thieves took a while to get off the ground or set sail, but, you know, they've done solid for themselves now. But it's not been without some strikeouts. You know what I mean? And I think, you know, and I know Kind of Funny's talked about it too. I think seeing all the hoopla over this big buyout of Activision Blizzard, seeing how it's been poorly handled, and now, like, the fallout from it, I think people will stay away from being, like, of course, indie games, like, it's like, you got to be stupid not to, if you have millions of dollars thrown your way, it's like, oh, we could do so much. Like, look at Housemarque. Housemarque is a prime example of using their money right and having the vision. But I don't know. I think we get away from mega corporations. Like, of course, Disney is not a game, at least in the gaming sphere. Like, Disney is an all-encompassing entertainment industry. Mm-hmm. So they're different. They just happen to be their next purchase wanting to be in the gaming division. So that's a different thing. But I think, like, we'll never see Microsoft buy or spend that kind of money again. Sony won't spend that kind of money again on Bungie. But that's another example of a poor purchase done wrong, you know? So we could talk about this all night, but we're beating the dead horse here. the point of the matter is, don't let this happen.
Yeah, I would love to see more indie co-ops develop
Yeah.
where, you know, they're they're aligned morally and financially, but it's not they're owning each other, they're helping each other out type deal. It's like, what if you had Expedition 33's, it was Sandfall, something like that.
Oh yeah, Sandfall Interactive.
Yeah, Sandfall, and like is it Team Cherry?
That does Hollow Knight, yes.
Yeah. Like having those like type of teams like helping other indie developers, and like it's like, hey, you're doing this, you know, let's get you some help here, this, that, and the other, and like figuring out that side of things. I think that would be really cool. But I like we said, we don't want this crazy thing. You know, the only thing that I would, this is not something I want to see, but I think would be hilarious, Derek, if Rockstar bought Disney.
Dude, they don't have the money. Like, even as much money as they make, they wouldn't have enough to buy Disney. But can you imagine? Be like, being what's his name? Trevor being like a Disney princess or something like that. Like, that would be insane.
Oh my god, that would be hilarious. That just popped in my head because they're about the only one that would have that much money, but they wouldn't.
Oh yeah,
they wouldn't.
It would still be a far cry from buying Disney.
Yeah,
they might buy a division of Disney. They might be able to buy Fox out from Disney, but
true. But yeah, I thought, I was like, I gotta say, that's too funny. Well, everybody, it's time for the Patreon quick hits. The Patreon quick hits are brought to you by our wonderful patrons. Go support the Nerd Cave by getting your very own Nerd Cave membership to help us continue to make shows just like this one. Become part of the ship, part of the crew at patreon.com/nerdcave to keep the lights and the mics on. Now, the Patreon quick hits.
First up, Resident Evil Revelations remake is something that has been tossed around at Capcom, claims leaker. Jason Blundell confirms Dark Outlaw Games' debut project wasn't a live service title, hallelujah, but still not good because Sony closed them. Jack and Daxter Remaster was pitched by Sanzaro Games a long while back, says senior animator. Sonic Racing Crossworld's Mega Man DLC is out now. PlayStation Store dynamic pricing examples have been spotted in the wild on first-party games. Sonya Walger, or Walger, however you pronounce her last name, cast as Freya in Amazon's God of War series. We've almost got a full cast round out there, Zach. Crimson Desert's main dev team has reportedly shifted to a new project. Top Gun Maverick's Glenn Powell has been tapped to voice Fox McCloud in the Super Mario Galaxy movie. According to Saros director, Arcade, as in type like arcade type of games, is still alive at Housemarque. Conquest has set his sights on Invincible Versus roster, while 2 DLC fighters and an open beta details have been revealed. Pragmata Dev says they designed a stage to purposefully look like generative AI, because that's what we all want. It's like, let's toy with the idea of having generative AI in our game. Switch 2, Zelda Ocarina of Time remake, and new Star Fox are reportedly coming this year. However, ex-Nintendo employee says Ocarina of Time remake leak will supposedly make Nintendo furious because they wanted to announce it, more than likely. We all know Nintendo likes to keep things close to the vest. Pokemon Go item will help play the game for you, in essence, like throwing Pokeballs and all this kind of stuff. All Forza Horizon 5's rare and time-limited cars have been added for purchase in-game. Unity beats Q1 financial expectations after powering games like Hollow Knight Silksong and Peak. After a turbulent 6 months, Borderlands 4 gets its first big DLC called Mad Ellie and the Vault of the Damned. Turtle Beach's next Switch 2 accessories include a light-up Rosalina-themed controller. CRKD Alt Pro is a feature-packed Pro-style controller listed at $70. Pokemon Dev says series may eventually include 10,000 Pokemon. Insane. I know it's probably over 1,000 at this point. If not, when Winds and Waves come out, it'll definitely be over 1,000. Fortnite layoffs inevitable as Epic continues to bet on reshaping the games industry. Jack Black wants a role in a live-action Yakuza film. Konami announces plans to increase its starting salary by nearly 30% in Japan. I know it's only in Japan, but you know what? A salary increase compared to everyone else getting decreased and or laid off is a good thing. I just wish it wasn't Konami doing this. The rumored Final Fantasy IX remake is reportedly still on ice. Bungie to offer many years of steady improvements for Marathon. Sony reportedly set to launch a new open back gaming headset with InZone H6 Air. After laying off terminally ill employee, CEO Tim Sweeney says Epic Games is in contact about life insurance issue. Wondershop dev Ivy Road has shut down. RAM prices have started to drop, but the crisis is far from over. Super Mario Movie's Charlie Day wants a Luigi's Mansion spinoff, which will probably happen. Let's just go ahead and it'll happen. Xbox Games Showcase and Gears of War E-Day Direct announced for June 7th, starting at noon Central Time. This is the time that we start hearing about Summer Game Fest, Zach, and all these other directs happening. And I can't go far back, but at least in recent history, all these single game directs that we've seen have games that either have release dates for the year that they're showing them or are getting release dates. So Gears of War E-Day being their focus shows a very highly likely possibility that we'll get the game either this year or at least a release date, and it'll come out early next year. So fingers crossed. I'm excited to see what they have to show. Call of Duty director shuts down skill-based damage claims as Sony patents system for maintaining even playing field between cross-platform players. The Elder Scrolls Blades mobile RPG is set to shut down for good on June 30th. Avatar Legends, the fighting game, sets a July 2nd release date and a $30 price point. Rockstar has reportedly spent over $2 billion with a B developing GTA 6, and they'll make that back probably in the first 3 days. PS6 $700 shelf price is still possible, says Trusted Hardware Insider. However, other analysts suggest a $1,000 price tag for the PS6 and Project Helix is not impossible. Rumor, PS6 is likely to feature a 1TB SSD and no disk drive, neural texture compression to keep game sizes down. And just one caveat, if they do make it a $700 shelf price, they'll make it up by, if they don't have a disk drive, it's like, for the physical owners, you can buy a disk drive for an extra $100 to $150. Don't sweat it. Rumor, new Lord of the Rings game is reportedly in the works at Kingdom Come Deliverance developers. Following that, rumor, Crystal Dynamics is also working on a Lord of the Rings game, so Godzilla let them fight moments, like let them see who makes the better Lord of the Rings game. Neil Druckmann says The Last of Us has a few stops that remain on the road ahead, possibly teasing that The Last of Us Part 3 is in the cards. Eidos Montreal has reportedly scrapped Wildlands, a game that has cost hundreds of millions and has been in the works for over 7 years. Eidos Montreal has announced layoffs affecting 124 staff and the departure of studio head David Anfosi. Shift Up, the people behind Stellar Blade, buys Shinji Mikami's new studio. Crimson Desert has sold 4 million copies in 2 weeks. Shigeru Miyamoto is on a mission to put Pikmin in literally everything. New Mind's Eye mission will reveal evidence the game was sabotaged, claims CEO. I want to put a pin in this. I want to come back to this, but I want to get through the quick hits. Ed Sheeran has turned down a Fortnite concert and will collaborate with Pokemon instead. And of course, why not? There's an IKEA crossover coming to Pokemon Pokopia. Microsoft puts Master Chief, Ghost from Call of Duty, and Sylvanas from World of Warcraft on cans of Fanta to celebrate 25 years of Xbox. Social VR game Rec Room is shutting down on its 10th anniversary. Nintendo is changing Mario Kart World again, rebalancing items and adding Bomb Blast battle mode. Pragmata has officially gone gold ahead of its April 17th release. Sony's rumored PS6 Canis handheld GPU is reportedly more powerful than the Xbox Series S. Of course, with it changing months, we got new PlayStation Plus Essential games at the free tier. And for April, we get Lords of the Fallen, Sword Art Online, Fractured Daydream, and Tomb Raider 1 through 3 Remastered. Baby Steps fans think the game is secretly a fan-made Uncharted 5. And lastly, the USPTO rejects Nintendo's summon character and let it fight Pokemon patent.
Now, one thing, Baby Steps being a fan made Uncharted 5.
Was it a April Fool's thing?
I have no idea, but I see
Oh.
no way that that's even true.
Yeah.
Having watched some gameplay and like some story stuff, I'm like, I don't see this. Somebody just needed to write something, I guess, this weekend or this week, you know.
I guess.
Real quick, and I know you wanted to jump back into one of these, but the Gears of War thing, I was looking at all the major releases. So all the numbered releases have come out in the fall. So November 7th for Gears 1, November 2008 for Gears 2, September 20th for 3, and then you have Judgment Day that came out in March, but like I said, the numbered one. Ultimate came out in August. Gears 4 came out in October, Gears 5 September. So all of the major ones have come out in the fall.
Yeah. Can you imagine if it released around the same time as Wolverine?
Oh my god. So great.
Like I would have to take 2 weeks off. Just 1 week to play Wolverine, 1 week to play Gears.
Like I'm looking at my calendar and everything, and I'm like, I might have to take more than 1 day off for Wolverine.
Wolverine, yeah.
You know, I'm just like, I need some me time, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Some me time. But Derek, I know you wanted to jump into one of these.
The Mind's Eye one, yeah. And I just want to do a PSA mainly. It's just me standing on my soapbox. It's like, don't play this. Like if you're a Mind's Eye super fan, cool. Play it. If you're enjoying the game, do what you want to. But people, don't play this. Like if you're casually playing Mind's Eye, don't bother with this DLC, because all it is going to this is right before their little court case with IO Interactive about how it was, you know, like the back and forth of they said type of deal, and all it is going to try and paint them in a light to where they're the victim, and especially if it comes out in court that it's like, oh, y'all were actually just as shady as IO and like, yeah, IO probably did some shady stuff, but y'all are not absolved from this either. Like, y'all are not innocent, and they're going to try and paint themselves as the victim. Like, I think, like, on a surface level, I think it's a unique idea because it's bringing real world into a video game and, like, doing it differently and, like, telling a unique story, I guess if you want to call it that. But at the surface level, don't do this. Like, I know they've had their troubles and there's been diatribes on both sides about, oh, well, you didn't promise this. It's like, yeah, we did. You didn't follow through on it. You know, it's the same thing with Subnautica about the whole like bonuses and everything. It's very similar situation, just different subject matter. But don't waste your time with this. It's like I know they're trying to be cutesy with it, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be propaganda to make them seem like they're innocent and IO's the big bad wolf.
Yeah, I'm excited though, Derek, about these Lord of the Rings games, because the last time we got two competing big Lord of the Rings games was Battle for Middle Earth and like the Two Towers Return of the King, like the peak of Lord of the Rings games. So it's like, okay, are we about to get back into that kind of like era of Lord of the Rings games? Because I
hope so.
I'm so excited for that.
Well, I mean, especially putting up with terrible releases like Gollum, you know what I mean? And like, so like we're due for once. Like, I mean, because I know the second one had loot box, you know, controversy around it, but the last good couple Lord of the Rings games we got was the Shadows of, you know, the Shadow series, like Shadow of Middle Earth and Shadow of War. And, you know, they had a unique, you know, with the Nemesis system and whatnot, that was very unique, very different for video games in general, but also just told like a story that's set in the Middle Earth, but like a different age and like different, you know, still involving some characters, but doing a different, you know, perspective and just different timeline altogether. So do that. Like, again, it's like when you have competition, it breeds, you know, we all win. So I am more intrigued. Like, of course, Crystal Dynamics is, you know, they've done good in the past. I know they've kind of not done so well as of late, but
Mhm.
there's potential there. Like they've got the at least the budget to make it interesting. Warhorse Studios, I think that's the dev behind Kingdom Come Deliverance. Them doing one, especially after doing two medieval games, one that was just nominated for Game of the Year, them doing that, I feel like would be a home run.
Yes.
Obviously, we got to see it. Obviously, down the road, we got to see it. Put pen to paper, and we got to see it on the screen, and then have the controller in our hands. But them doing that after doing two very successful medieval games already would be it just be like t-ball. You know, like it's a guaranteed home
Yeah.
run, man. Like so, I can't wait. I would be more intrigued to see a game from them than I would Crystal. Like I'll give both a shot. Don't get me wrong, but if gun to my head, if I had to pick one just off these statements, I'm picking the one behind Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. I would love to see something during like the Silmarillion and everything with like
Mm-hmm.
all of the gods and Morgoth and like these huge epic wars and all of that. That would be
Yeah.
awesome to see happen, because like the scale of what like Kingdom Come and Deliverance is able to do, where like
Mm-hmm.
you have these bigger battles, but then you have these like smaller moments as well. Like they really did well with that game. So it would be really awesome to see something like that.
Yeah. Zach's gonna bookmark this, and then when watch that be what Warhorse does, and then Zach will be like, I love when I'm right. You know, Zach, I like to be humble, but when you're right, you're right. I did call it back in the day, back in April of 2026. I called it ahead of time.
You know, some would say it's my curse technique, Derek.
Crystal ball, Zach. This is your crystal ball moment.
Oh. It's a little hot tonight. It's a little briny
Yeah.
on me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I think those would be really cool. And like Crystal Dynamics, like they're able, like they did the Tomb Raider game. So it would be
Yeah.
like if we're getting something on that level of polish and just, you know, approach to something.
Like the first one, what I know they had that god awful multiplayer mode, but I mean, all three Tomb Raider games, like story wise, were like pretty much very well received. So especially Shadow, like I know Rise was like a lot of people consider that the best out of the trilogy, but Shadow was no slouch either, from what I heard. So if they bring that same level of intensity and like game development to a Lord of the Rings game, be golden.
Yeah. And it's like I feel like this is something that a lot of developers suffer at. It's like
Mm-hmm.
they pick things that don't fit into their wheelhouses. It's
Yeah.
like pick a story, pitch a story that works within like what you're really good at, you
Yeah.
know. And
Which
I
again is
know
why I said, go ahead. Sorry.
it's like I know we wouldn't have gotten Horizon if Gorilla would have just stayed with first person shooters, but it's like
Correct.
sometimes you got to stay with the one you brought to the dance.
Yeah. Which again is why I'm saying, like, letting Warhorse develop a Lord of the Rings game after developing two great medieval games is like Steph Curry shooting a three. It's just guaranteed to not miss. Now
Well,
watch. I'll say that, and I'll eat crow. Watch them put out, and it's a god awful game.
Nah, I doubt it. I doubt it. Not after doing something amazing like that. And I don't think
Yeah.
anybody wants to leave, you know, Warhorse. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, we
Yeah,
crushed it, you know?
Yeah.
So there you go. That is our show tonight. Next Thursday, we'll be live talking about all the anime that you need to know. And it's going to be a great time. You don't want to miss it. Thank you so much for being here. This has been Zach
And Derek.
God bless week. Bye bye.